Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Vivek, 10 million illegals crossing tweet going viral, to say the least. Now, this comes thanks to his ex-Twitter profile, and Vivek says, quote, 10 million plus have crossed the border illegally since Biden took office. That's more than the population of most U.S. states. Combine that with weak voter ID and liberal amnesty laws, and that creates a massive structural advantage for Democrats in elections, which is obviously the point, unquote. For him, that went not as viral as usual, but pretty effective, getting a little over 400,000 views and 15,000 likes. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at his profile right now, and I think he actually stopped paying for X Twitter Premium. There's the business version of Twitter or X, where if you pay it, it's like, for me, it's not worth the cost in terms of my tech company. It's I think $1,000 plus per month, and you get an extra little emoji in your Twitter profile to show that you're working for a business connected, on the platform. And again, there are some benefits, but it's very hard to do targeted advertising on X Twitter right now, as opposed to like LinkedIn, where you can actually target people based on their job titles and geographic location. I'm sure X Twitter will get there, but it is interesting that it looks like Vivek has stopped that, because I don't see that cool. He had, you get your own custom emoji. Him was the, the colored V. I don't see that by his profile anymore. Little ADHD comment there, or observation and comment. Now, again, it's fascinating to see or hear kind of the age-old political topics that we've been debating for decades, which the pessimist to me kind of just thinks Democrats and Republicans use the same topics so they can both, increase their funds and make their campaign funds grow even more over time. Because, again, we've been discussing the border for decades, and yet we've really never had really much progress. I mean, every couple of years they just talk about amnesty, then they'll build a little bit of a wall, but they never really secure it. Though it is interesting to see U.S. government's priorities when you spend about $200 billion to Ukraine to have them defend their border, and yet we don't defend ours. It's fascinating to see the priorities of the government. Now, again, I suspect immigration is a very hot topic. It's also very polarizing for some people. So I suspect there'll be some pushback and some contrarian statements below, which maybe that's why he didn't get as many likes as usual. But let's dive in and find out. Now, Paul Zazupa says, quote, Democrats want the illegals also paid their populations also to pay. Oh, sorry. Again, enunciation and speaking is not always easy. However, if you click the subscribe button, I think it may very well assist with my speaking ineptitudes, aka decreasing them. Since when I started the show, believe it or not, I actually spoke a lot faster, stumbled over my words a lot more, and my voice, truth be told, was a little bit monotoned at times. However, the more subscribers I've gained, the more I've been able to increase my enunciation, and I think I've been improving a little bit. Some might argue it's just a modicum of improvement. However, still a little bit of improvement, I believe. So, again, if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, what Paul was attempting to say before I butchered it was, quote, Democrats want the illegals also to pad their populations. Many blue states are losing more residents than gaining each year. The census currently counts illegals. These blue states need the numbers or they'll lose the seats in the House next census. Thus, they welcome illegals. Unquote, 126 likes. Again, that's something I've always heard that rumor as a kid that Democrats want illegals because it will increase their representation in the government, and it does because of the census. And they do get to send more. They get more people in the House of Representatives because that's based on your population. So there is some truth to that theory, and I don't know if we've ever seen any hard documents leak or any leaked conversations where you hear a political leader explicitly saying it out loud. That's why they're doing it. I mean, if you've seen that, let me know in the comments. I've been researching this for a while. I haven't seen that directly, the quiet part said out loud, so to say. But if you have that data, I'd be fascinated to go over and examine that data. Now you have Luke Zaleski, who is our favorite leftist. Well, don't really like him. However, I do appreciate his perspective because it is more contrarian to a lot of these people that we follow and cover on the show. And echo chambers can get a little bit boring, so I always want to hear more information and get more data, make life a little bit more interesting. Now, Luke Zaleski says, quote, Elon Jr. is fired up on replacement theory, and it's kind of weird to think who is going to vote for someone without any other information than they're a Southern immigrant. Furthermore, the incentive structure baby Trump isn't acknowledging is the financial one created for the cartels who buy U.S. politicians who drive up the price they charge per crossing with right-wing policies and propaganda, unquote. Now, many people would argue that is a mentally vacuous statement. I would too. However, people did agree with it. It did get 5 likes, and it looks like, what were the replies? There was one reply, well, 2. One was censored. The red in the sea simply says this guy gets more retarded with each post, unquote. Simple Human says, quote, when eyes and minds are closed, why does one need glasses? Stupidity makes you dangerous to yourself and everyone around you. Jennifer, unquote, Jennifer Lee Carroll. Now, no one liked the responses to Luke Zaleski, but they were there. And again, it is interesting to see, you have seen the U.S. government allow some immigrants, but not, and I suspect some of it is politically motivated, because again, they'll grant asylum, which one of the most ridiculous things is they'll grant asylum from people trying to escape Mexico, which they vote for their president, and they don't live under a dictatorship. They have the government they voted for. And yet with Cuba, which is a terrible dictatorship, now granted I'm biased, that's where my family escaped from, but I remember the Biden administration actually refused them. I believe was it 20, what year is it? Was that 2018 or 2019? No, time's going by way too quick. That was 2022. Yeah, so they actually refused immigrants or refugees from Cuba, where I would argue of all the use cases of someone who deserves asylum based on escaping an oppressive regime, Cuba would certainly qualify for that. However, they turned them away. Now, some people do suspect, again, I don't have any hard documents on this, but people from Cuba tend to vote more right in general, perhaps because they've seen what happens when the government takes away guns and seizes the means of production and takes everything over. Spoiler alert, if you never read a history book, the most morally vacuous, mentally vacuous things in history always come when the government takes over the means of production, when they disarm the population. So perhaps maybe that's why they would not allow amnesty from Cubans trying to escape, but they would from everyone from the southern border. Now, going to other comments here, you have Small Government saying, quote, we need allocation of representation solely based on U.S. citizens, voting restricted to only U.S. citizens, unquote, 12 likes. You also have Bulldogs for Vivek saying, quote, today is March 5th, and Vivek Ramaswamy is the best VP in history alongside President Donald Trump. Or they say will be the best VP, getting 52 likes. Moto Storm says, quote, the great social experiment. I wonder who is all involved, not just the Biden crime faction, many others too, including 26 likes. And it's funny, it's one of those things where it is kind of the cliche thing we've seen in politics. One, you're told this isn't happening. Two, says it's happening a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Three, you say it's happening, but it's okay. Then four, you say it's happening and you should embrace it. And five, they say it's happening, you must embrace it no matter what. And we see this with this replacement theory. Again, people have openly talked about this in politics, left and right, and we even heard some people on the left saying it is a good thing. And again, I think as long as you have the same morals and values of the United States founding fathers, and you follow the correct process to, go through the immigration process, absolutely, it'd be great to have those people in the United States. It's all about having the same shared morals and values. Doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you come here properly through the immigration process, which I also do think we need to streamline, make more effective, and scrutinize and prioritize who's coming here. But nevertheless, that's another replacement theory where it's funny, but then if someone mentions it, then they'll say, oh no, you're crazy. But there's video of politicians saying it out loud. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, I think this is going to be one of the biggest, most viral things, one of the biggest topics on the upcoming election is going to be immigration and the economy. And the candidate who actually come out and actually bring stability to those situations and resolve the situations, I suspect those are going to be the ones that the people will overwhelmingly vote for. So it'll be interesting to see as this hot topic continues to develop, what is the most effective way to resolve it, and who brings those options and ideas to the table. Let me know, do you think this is going to be, if anyone's going to maybe revamp the census so that they are not counted, so you actually don't get to send more people to DC based on them? I mean, a lot of people thought that's how it should be by default. I was pretty shocked when I first learned that, in fact, it wasn't. But let me know what you think. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up or thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some more additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.